What's up, everyone? I'm Giovanni Brusco, and this is the Media Mogul News Hour. I'm here today with our guest, singer, songwriter, and producer, Sandy T. How are you doing?
Hello, good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Wonderful. Welcome to the show, and
Yay.
everyone, thanks for tuning in again. I always appreciate it. So, if you could tell us, who is Sandy T?
I think the best description would be someone that just really wants to be in charge of my creativity. And I think that was hard to do, you know, in kind of like even 10 years ago. But I think now you just have a lot of freedom. So, I'm a very creative artist. I like to keep my hands in everything from mixing, producing, arranging, writing, lyrics, stacking the harmonies. I just love, being involved with every single process. So, pretty much I like to do it all. And I have surrounded myself with some great people, and I've been very lucky this last year. I've been so lucky to
That you
find
have, and
them.
so one of the people that you worked with, Rob Manzoli, of
Yes, months.
Right Said Fred. And so, for those who may not know who that is, he's one of the original members of the group. They were known for the song "I'm Too Sexy," which there aren't very many songs I could think of that are bigger than that. Like in
Exactly.
history, that was a big one. And
Yeah.
so, how did you land that connection?
Yeah. He monster musician on every level. We're not talking he just doesn't play one instrument, but
Right.
basically I was seeking I had a track and I really needed to find someone that could funkify it. This is how I was explaining it when I was
Hmm.
looking for someone to do it. And his wife is actually an amazing engineer. And so she was up on Upwork and saying, "Oh, we can do I produced, da da da. I worked with George Clinton, Funkadelic," and I was like, "Oh, it sounds kind of cool." So I basically got two for the price of one. I hired her. We started working together on this track, and then I started hearing a lot of this stuff coming back because I record in the Straits, and I'm going, "What the heck? There's like amazing guitars on here, and they're completely doing everything from scratch." And I thought, then it came out that he was doing all the the music, and then we liked working with
Amazing
each other.
super.
Yeah, we really got along musically, idea wise, creatively wise. And I said, would you be willing to do some songs with me? Write some songs like 50-50.
Hmm.
I'll send you the top lines. I'll send you a melody and lyrics because I'm not that great on instruments, but and then you guys just do whatever you want, send it back. Oh my God. So Fall for You, all these songs that I'm still, I have some stuff still coming out that we're doing with them, but it's been an incredible, super nice, super talented, exactly what I was looking for because I really like that soul infused pop kind of
And you said
sound.
that you wanted your track funkified, and just to be clear, and just to remind folks who might not have heard you mention the name, I think you did say George Clinton, and
Yes. Yeah.
Manzoli does work with him.
Oh, I
And
love it.
I mean, is it any way to better funkify something than to,
I
invoke
know.
the gifts of the talent that's
I
behind
know.
George Clinton?
Exactly. But Sue was like Sue and Rob are right there with him doing a lot of stuff and they still do
Yeah.
stuff with their group. They have a lot of projects going on with guys that were in the band and they're just amazing. Sue and Rob. Sue Brooks, who is his wife, Sue Manzoli,
Hmm.
she met him on the set of their Right Said Fred video. So their love
Hmm.
story started in a music video. And they're really great. They're just wonderful to work with, and I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier. I keep saying that because I'm like, it's my dream come true. So they've
Yeah, and,
really
and
done an
even as far
amazing
as
job.
having different types of musical influences on your work, I was just happening to look at their Twitter. I mean, well, aside from the fact that I believe they've both worked with, Outcast for one, which is, you know, completely the other side of the musical spectrum
Yeah.
of, his of Manzoli's work. And I was reading her, giving compliments to Drake and things like that. And I said, oh, okay, you've definitely got some diverse people. Should you decide to
Yeah.
go and bounce all around?
Exactly. Exactly. So he, I like I said, not only just amazing producers and composers and talent, but they're just nice. Really, really lovely,
Yes.
lovely people. It's so important in this business.
And before I go on, I know you probably don't want to hear it again. So I was talking about this in the pre-show, how we, as soon as we connected, I said, "Oh, your background is amazing," and yeah, I
Okay.
think I could. I'm taking some staging pointers uh, from you
My wood wall,
for the.
my wood
Yes, it's
my wood
gorgeous.
plank wall. Yes.
I was working with a when I was doing politics in this area with an interior designer who was leading a political group here. I think that he would approve. I
Oh,
might pass at least a screenshot of this
yeah.
over to him
Hello.
and say, "What do you think?" I think he'd approve. Looks good. Might slightly be
Super easy.
jealous. Me, that is.
Super easy to do. Yeah, but they're so easy to do. They come with the little grooves. You just kind of
hmm
they stick together. It's really cool.
I, yeah, I actually think I actually might give that a try just because. I mean, don't hold me to it. Maybe a couple times,
Well,
but
you can only do like
yeah.
a little wall and start with a little wall.
hmm
Like the one behind you will look cool
hmm
with those three. I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are those pictures.
It's like a
So that would
3D
yeah.
metal art.
Yeah, that could be a
I
good
might.
accent wall.
Yeah, I might give it a try. So listen, you have a new song that's coming out, or that already is, "Fall for You." Just tell us about that.
Fall for You is really doing well globally right now. I'm in the top five, indie global charts, and
Nice.
all around the world. Just crazy, crazy, crazy how many radio stations this song is being spun on. And as you know, Misty just did some of my publicity, and I
Yes.
do. So my next song within this group of songs that I did with Sue and Rob, and I have to do a shout out to Danny, aka Alinid. She's been the engineer on this side of the state, so we send the files back and forth. But
hmm
she's an amazing part of the whole process too. So I have to give her a shout out. But
Very good.
yeah, and then so during the process of the engine, we're in the studio. You get stuck sometimes as a lyricist, and a melody goes all through your head, and you're like, "Oh my god, I
hmm
don't know what to do." And she would always have some great ideas. So she really also is a kind of a big part of this whole little group that I've got going. So yes, I have another track ready to go after Fall for You. Just kind of, right now I'm promoting that, and we're
Okay.
going to potentially do a tour in late
Oh
summer
no, that would
over
be
in
exciting.
Europe. Yeah. So I've been working on it, and it's
Please
nothing in
catalog some of
concrete.
that. As much of that as possible on camera. You've got folks who
Thank
want to
you.
feel like we're there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's nothing is in stone yet, but this is
hmm
where we're heading. Because the song, you got to release, and then you got to wait, and you release, and then you wait.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not trying to just throw everything out there just yet.
Right. I
Do it
understand that.
steady, slow and steady might win the race.
Right. So, was there any inspiration for that song, "Fall for You"? I mean, I do feel like it's definitely a topic that most of us can relate to. Who's
Yeah.
not done any falling for anyone?
Yeah. It does. I think uh, a lot of people probably have experienced some form of a breakup in their life, especially in the last two
hmm
years, and in any time in life, But it just seems
Right.
like the pandemic just really, busted the door
That's
open
true.
here, and it's really about finding love again. And I was really heartbroken over a marriage I was in, and then I
Oh, sorry
just
to
was
hear.
like, there's hope. There's
hmm
hope out there, and you can get those feelings again, and you kind of get the chance to do it better. So it's exciting, the beginning of it all, and then just finding the right person again is really a great trip. I love it.
Yes,
And
and
that's really
so
what I was doing. I was trying to say, like, all right, I've been hurt.
mhm,
Let me just check this out. Let me try to, make this happen. And again, in my head, I'm going, oh God,
right.
here I'm gonna have feelings again for somebody. Like, Jesus, no. But
Yeah, you got to
yeah.
stick your feet back in the water, you know?
It's when you're yeah, but when you're married, I'll tell you, I'm not sure if I would do the M word again. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna
I,
be a while.
I understand. And so, the last time that we spoke, we were talking about, we had a little discussion about reality television. And so,
Yes.
Real
Oh,
Housewives. And so,
yes.
they're centered around, supposedly around, or what should have been around marriage. Not everyone shows necessarily married, whatever. But there's a difference when there's legal paperwork that is involved. There are relationships, there's long-term ones, and then there is,
Yes.
as you said, the M word and all of the other, wonderful things that can bring about lawyers and all that, and all that, and all that great stuff.
Could
You know,
trigger the lawyers.
yeah. So sometimes I try to remind folks like it's different and it's at a different level. You know
Well,
what I mean?
do you find that these women, it doesn't seem like they have a lot of success, and it seems like as soon as they get on the show, there's like the marriages are breaking apart, and then they're finding all this happy ever after with someone else, and then that breaks apart. I don't know. I see more marriages go down the tube sometimes on those shows. It's a
I
weird, you know what I mean? They're like, oh,
it
I'm
it
married, and
is.
now I'm gonna
So
just
like
be
I just
happy and
interviewed
free.
someone. I just like shared a clip of this morning, who there was a girl on the show is Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, and it was a little known fact that she essentially brought all the cast together. But in watching her on the show, there like the castmates were kind of either picking at her, clowning her, things of that nature, but they were all friends before. And then suddenly the cameras come on and people become something else.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's often, how it is. You see people and you can kind of tell when someone's lying. They're sitting there, I didn't say that. No, absolutely not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like,
Just being
hello.
completely brand new. And that's, the unfortunate side of it. One, you've got being in the industry being difficult, right?
Yeah.
Performing being difficult, dealing with other folks. I'm telling you, as a writer, I would, if I could be behind my desk and probably not look at anyone
Ah,
all day, I would be perfectly fine with. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
I know. I know.
But it adds an extra layer of stress to things. And since you mentioned it, um, being married before and working as an artist, how is that type of work-life balance? Like, how was that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I think number one is I have to stay true to my direction. And
Mhm.
that's the key to, I think, as a happy person. So I don't
Yes.
think a unhappy person's going to do well in a relationship, obviously. So I think,
Happiness is important.
yeah, the brand, the music, it has to have a place, and it has to be a respectable place in a relationship. So
Right.
I don't really do well if someone tries to say, well, don't, you can't really go to Europe for 2 months. What are you talking about? I'm like, I need a cheerleader. You're going to be like,
Yeah.
yay, let me know how it's going. I'm like, you got it. That's exactly what I need. So yeah, no, I don't. I think that's the key to a lot of relationships. It's, people start to
Mhm.
kind of put limitations on each other if they're
Right.
uncomfortable. I mean, being in the entertainment business, yeah, there's a lot of people that come towards you and they want,
All of
your
it's
time.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, they want your time, and but it's a trust thing. It breaks down to
Yes.
trust. Period. End of story. Trust, trust, trust. And my marriage did not have a lot of trust, and it wasn't, you know, it was kind of from both our ends, but it got worse.
Hmm.
And then once it starts to get worse, and only one person wants to fix it, me, and the
Hmm.
other person didn't, then it's gone. You know, it's kind of like, well, if you're not going to step up, then what are you going to
Right. Well, look, well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that,
do?
next time around might be
Something
better.
good came out of it. Yeah.
And who knows? You might have two good things happen. One being a European tour, and two,
Uh-huh.
maybe a person along the way. You never know.
That would be awesome. But I tell you, I'm more into my career this time around. I'm more protective of it. Does that make sense? I'm more,
As you should.
yeah,
I
I'm just,
mean,
it's like, this is me, this is my career.
mhm.
Sorry if you don't like some of that. That's your
As I said,
decision.
is it not? I mean, is it not an uncomfortable industry to begin with? You know,
It is.
just in general, like I said, I would not leave my desk. And there's so many new things that I, you know, get to do. I mean, I met Misty, just by being invited for an interview. I actually wasn't even sure what all I was doing that day. I just went
No.
along. I mean, I could have been like, "Oh, I don't feel like it today," and just or that, tell someone else to go do it, and then we probably would have never met, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. She's something else, I'll tell you. She's
how
like
did you all meet, by the way?
through Stephen Wrench.
Okay,
So yeah, he
good
just said,
connect.
"Hey, connect. I know this girl Misty because I need some publicity. I need some stuff, in the magazines."
Right.
And she was like, "There, man. She's quite the business-minded woman. I got it. She's a boss bitch, big time, and I love it. I'm like, go for it, girl. Don't She's really trying to
Yes.
expand her entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm such a big supporter of that, especially
And
in
as
her
some, mhm,
in her business. I mean, it's it's tough for women still in any of our businesses, honestly.
it is, and I'll say this as someone who works with her, I tell her all the time. I said, I don't know if you're aware, but at least in my head anyway, that I feel that I'm like the least problematic person that you deal with. I said because for the most part, most things that she suggests, I just go along with.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I know that this is good advice. I've probably heard it before from others. You hang around a couple years,
Yeah.
you hear a couple things a few times, and it's like maybe second time around, maybe I should listen. Now that someone's told me again.
Well, but you
Um,
get into your career where you're like, this is, to me, it feels like a second time at my career. I'm like,
mhm,
I kind of shedded the older stuff that I had around me, meaning the older tracks I used to do or whatever
right.
it was. And this was a completely new vision for me that I've always wanted to do. Second time, I have a different attitude. I'm more confident, blah, 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 blah. So I think what you're saying in general is kind of what I'm feeling as well. It's kind of like I'm setting my own
Your own
pathway.
rules, yeah,
Yeah, I'm setting. Well,
with the right
I
people
don't want to
around,
say rules because I'm very flexible with everybody around me.
right?
Creatively, I'm very flexible. I'm like, please just
So I've
pillage
noticed.
whatever I sent you. Let me hear what you got. I love working like that. I love collabing, and it's really a great experience now. I'm much more relaxed. I love it.
Okay.
I'm paying the bills, so that's why I'm more relaxed.
Yeah, okay, that makes a little bit of a difference.
It does. Well, it does. It buys you your freedom. In a sense, it does.
Mhm.
I mean, I I had a record label once, and I didn't see any money for a long time, and it's because they were taking out for this, taking out for that, da 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 da
Right.
da. And then, oh, here you get the little bit left over, and I didn't want to do that again. I thought, I'd rather be. Let me try this indie thing, and I'm enjoying
Yeah,
the hell
have
out of it.
control of your own work.
Hmm. Exactly.
I was
Just
thinking,
like you.
yeah, so that reminded me of what's her name? Um, Years ago, Mariah Carey said that she was not a big fan of American Idol because she felt that artists would blow up overnight, and so people didn't necessarily appreciate what they would have in their new career, and thus would throw it away over doing completely ridiculous things.
Right. They
And
didn't get enough callus. They didn't get enough road burn. They didn't get
right.
enough. They didn't get enough
Might have a
calluses.
couple of those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
But
it's
yeah,
good.
when you're actually hitting the pavement, trying to get things done yourself, that then allows you to, possibly, be in a position that you're in, whereby you might be a little more flexible, you know, um, in the studio because, you've got the control, and you're also likely not going to be showing up with, an attitude like a lot of other entitled artists,
Ding, ding,
for
bingo,
instance.
ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
All the green lights are going off. Yeah, it's such a. Oh my god, I just love walking down the hall, going right into the big studio, going. Ah, we're going to do what I'd like to do today. But again, I always
Right,
invite tons of, add this, add that. I'm not like a one track person, literally. But
right.
I do love the collabing. And
Okay.
yeah, so
You were talking about who was helping you get out of writing ruts earlier. So what is your
yes.
usual process in that for if you feel that you might be lacking a little inspiration? And I'm taking notes myself. I
Yeah,
check
no,
myself.
it's almost like you get like jammed up and you're through with all the ideas on a song. And it's usually happening when I'm in the vocal booth. And but I do a lot of stuff in the control room because I find that
Hmm.
I can kind of sit down, run some stuff. She's right there. We can just talk really fast instead of the stupid mirror in the between the control room and the vocal booth. But so that's how we just started working. And I said, "Oh, let's try this. Let's try that." Da, da, da. And then I'll just be like, "Oh, I don't like the way that sounds." She goes, "Well, what about this?" And then I'm like, "Oh my god, I love that." But yeah, it's definitely feeding off each other. So I do now really appreciate more about sharing ideas than I ever did,
Okay.
and
Okay.
sharing, yeah, and just taking in the ideas because somebody's hearing something totally
Helping with
different than you.
collaboration. Right.
Yes, yes, they're hearing
I think
something totally different.
that beats me like drinking coffee until it happens. The inspiration hits
You,
probably a little bit healthier
yeah, and yes, yes,
as
and
well.
you can get really stuck. I mean, because you put pressure on yourself. I think that's what I'm trying to also say. It's like
Yes.
you're sitting there, you're going, shit, I gotta really
Hmm.
get this right. And then someone just like Alina will be like, "Well, try this," and she's so different than me, which I love.
Yeah.
So we were like the perfect, you know, crossing ships in the night. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, what use is having a mirrored image right in front of you, right?
yeah, I don't,
Nice
yeah,
to
I
have some
don't
different inspiration.
exactly, and it's so critical. I think to always, have a lot of different ideas that you wouldn't even think of. I mean, I never would have thought of some of the things she's told me. I'm like, what? Or she sang me a line. I'm like, holy, you
Hmm.
hear that? And it's good. It's good. I
And
I
what you were
benefit.
saying,
Huh?
okay, what you were just saying about the criticism. I was just reading it was a Harvard something this morning about self-criticism and just saying that it's just not healthy. And I forgot what the term was. It was, I think it's a spotlight effect, whereby we tend to feel that other people um, see our perceived imperfections a little bit more than we do. And the only issue with that I have is that while that completely seems true, I think that as a creative, that we both could agree that being in the day and age of Instagram and where people rewind and like zooming into pictures, that it's kind of hard to think that people aren't doing that.
Oh, they're
I'm reading
doing
this
it.
paper and I'm reading this and I said, they're right. We do take these things too seriously, but also as a
Yeah.
writer and someone who does rewind things, I'm like, well, maybe everyone's not exactly like me.
And here's, I think, the secret to, and I'm not saying I'm doing it that well either, but it's tough. Criticism's
A little
tough.
preaching
And
to the choir, you
yeah,
know.
and yeah, exactly. And you're kind of going, oh God, is that going to come across? And then I've literally had moments I'm like, I don't care. I mean, really, this is me. I'm
Yeah,
expressing what I think is sounding good to me, and this is how I'm
you have
feeling.
to do that sometimes.
And but it's really helpful to get a lot of encouragement in the beginning
Yes.
from the reviewers. You know, you get it out there. You go, okay, here it goes, and you get a couple of these guys doing the review, and you're
Mhm.
like, you just kind of bite your knuckle. You're like, shit. Um, so once that first encouragement wave comes through, then you're like, oh, okay. And, you know, it's not for everybody, but
Right.
it is what it is. And yeah, no, criticism is tough, and I can be tough on myself for sure. I
Well,
want
you know,
to.
I mean, you know, who doesn't want to be the best? And remember, so when we first had our first conversation, I think that I came across your Instagram first, and I had given you a compliment on photos of yours, just because
Thank
you were
you.
doing like some side by side comparisons of different artists.
Yeah.
Misty was on the phone, and I said, well, if she does anything, her marketing is very well. These are all very good pictures, and I said I would be pretty hard pressed to go through and find any that were bad. So in that regard,
Thank
you
you. That's very
know,
nice.
you're doing well.
Thank you. I put a lot of thought into it, and I really wanted to make it more about what I'm representing as far as
Mhm.
musically, my brand, who I am. I don't think you're this is not something I'm just kind of saying I'm just going to do this because that's what it looks like.
Right.
It's actually me. It's actually me 1000%. And I just
It's always good to
how
try
else
to be
can
your
you do
authentic
that?
self.
Yes, and how else can you do that? By I know there's a lot of people like polish and they try to do
Hmm.
something more for the crowd maybe, but I'm just gonna I'm just rolling dice going here. I would wear this going out. Yes. I do
um,
like that.
but yeah, so I thought I would offer, you know, just remind you of that, you know, little reassurance. But so look, we talked about self-criticism, and I'm wondering regarding, as you may know, I'm a part of a talent search with Misty, with her
Black Abyss.
reality show and talent competition. So we had an artist that we were. Sorry if he's stacking up. We had an artist that he was playing music of his, and there were two tracks I think that he performed like back to back, and he said they both sounded the same, and he gets irate about it. You know,
Right.
oh, no, it's not. Raising his voice, so we even told him, gave him some decent feedback with it. I actually like the person as an artist. I said, well, you know, it could be the you know the mixing of it, whereby we couldn't hear you, where it just sounded. It could be different, but this is what it sounded like. Like, what are you arguing about? You know, like an attitude for the duration of the day.
Uh,
Um, after
you would
that,
never catch me doing that with anybody. That's just like, that's a big no-no for me.
and I'm wondering, you know, how do you handle perceived negative outside criticism, you know, from others?
I actually don't mind it. And sometimes there's something in the message.
Hmm.
And so I've just been like that for a long time, though. Even like I have a friend, long best friend, you know, long time. We've been best friends a long time. And we're totally two different people. Like she wears khaki jumpsuits and I have something pretty sexy on. So it's like complete polar opposites.
Hmm.
But I don't ever look at her and say anything. And she never looks at me and says anything. And that's kind of like where I like to surround myself with the people that are
Yeah.
just going with the flow. I treat people like that too. I like to let people go with the flow, with their flow.
Hmm.
And oops, I almost took this down. My hands are going here. I'm like getting excited. No, but yeah, it's a fine line. Trust me. I sound like, oh, you can take it. No, there's moments you just go, oh God, yeah, really. Mm-mm. I have to look
Yeah.
at that a little harder. I'm not immune, but I do like to practice, being gentle with criticism, ideas, acceptance, especially when you're
Right.
working with a creative group. It's like, do you want to change that? Sue will ask me. I'm like, no. Do you want to change it? I don't. I'm not trying to run the show here. And so that's how
Yeah.
our group kind of reacts to each other, which is the best, in my opinion.
Sounds good. And I'll say
I
that
like
I
it.
do remember also, Mariah Carey mentioned some time ago, I think when she was doing her comeback. So this is probably relevant for the time period.
Mm.
She said that she tried to relegate the advice that she was getting from folks
Mm.
to people only speaking on their profession and their experience. So, while that's very nice of you, said producer, commenting on my outfits, I will let the stylist have something to say in that category. So it's not all the stuff that's inside of my head. And you know how it is as you progress, the finger pointing in all areas
Yeah, yeah,
start to
yeah,
happen.
yeah. No, it can be really overwhelming as an artist to do everything. Okay, let's just say it. It's from me approving what I'm going to wear, from the music and the production and
Hmm.
the final mixes, and I essentially I kind of it'll be my conclusion in the end because it's really the brand, but it's making all the
Right.
little everything kind of ouch everything kind of work together. So uh yeah, I don't like seeing people act up like that over creative work. That it's kind of bothers
That's
me a
part of the
lot.
reason why that goes back to me saying that I would have liked to, or why I used to prefer being at my desk. But
Right, 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 right.
it doesn't necessarily work that way. You have to be out and around, all of you wonderful creative people. I'm talking like I'm not creative myself, but
But there's definitely people that have that attitude. Let's call it that, right?
because
Um, so
I'm always prepared. Like when I'm out with Misty, I'm prepared for anything.
good. You need
People
to be.
come,
you
people,
need you need to
come with
be.
their, folks come with their energies and all these other things, and you have to be concerned about, uh, judging folks' mood. You
Stepping,
know,
yeah, reading the room before you speak to somebody. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, it'd be nice to say everybody's cool and flexible, but no, that's not the case. It's
yes.
not the case at all.
So I don't think I ever found out. How did you get into music?
Oh my gosh, that I I just knew from like toddler age. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Just always listening to music, always. I didn't really know I could sing though until I was like
Hmm.
20, 21. I was really
Okay.
shy. Yeah, I was really, really super shy. Super shy about my
Sounds like someone
singing
probably
voice.
had to take that. Someone had to bring that out of you.
I did it myself. I said, I
Oh,
really want to do this. I better get my, butt on the stage and
in
start
here.
singing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I kind of went after it. After I was 21, I was just kind of like going, go, go, go. What have I got
Hmm.
to, I'm trying to,
Right.
build a music career. So
That's interesting that aspect you chose to wait until then. Usually, I'll hear of those who might have an early start. Like a 3 or 4. It's kind of like an all of the above at that time frame.
yeah, yes, yes, I know, I know. I agree with you totally on that. And I wish I kind of did do some things younger, but I was really shy. It
Uh,
exceptionally shy about my singing voice. I mean, I
really.
I really didn't. I knew I could sing. I knew I could sing, but I would not sing in front of anybody. That was what I'm
Oh
talking about.
man.
Yeah, it was like, please don't ask me to sing happy birthday. I still to this day,
Oh.
I'm like, oh God, please don't make me stand up and do this. I swear to God, I still have like it makes me nervous. And
Hmm.
it's just it could be
The
my
happy
friends.
birthday.
Yeah, because they're all like, let's hear you rip one out. Happy birthday. And I'm like, oh man, can I just sit here with my drink and
You know,
yay, everybody,
can
happy
I just
birthday.
enjoy like everyone else,
Yes.
for a
The
change?
pressure's on. Let's sing happy birthday. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. It's like I'm like, oh bro.
Plenty of other times for us to see you perform, right?
Yeah, and I feel like, God, I perform all the time. Well, I don't want to do this.
Hmm.
That's in my head. I know it's being very
Right.
selfish. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, all my friends. But yeah, I'm the entertainment. I'm like, oh, yeah. But yeah, it's fine.
Under- Understood. So, well, even in adulthood, do you prefer studio work over being live?
Ooh, good question there. I prefer live.
I
I do.
see.
I really do. I love live, but it's a lot of
You
damn
eventually
work.
gotta.
It's a lot of damn work to get to live. And
Hmm.
you got got new personalities coming in. The studio's nice and safe and cocoonish.
Right.
But as soon as you go live, you're like, oh, I got, other personalities to deal with and but being on the
A room of
stage
people
is
looking at you, right?
yeah, and being on stage is uh in when I was singing a lot live and it was a lot of big clubs and stuff like that. And I have to say it's a ton of fun. For me anyways. I really enjoy
Hmm.
it. And but the I think the late nights and having to do 2-3 sets. Just I'm like I just want to do like can I just do like an hour and then you can bring another singer in and then I'm gonna go home. I did my hour. The
I
peak
mean,
the
now it's a
peak.
long time, by the way.
Well, yeah, yeah. But the peak time was like 11:30 before everybody like
Hmm.
starts to go home. In the
Yeah.
clubs for the live music. And so yeah, I was like, can we just get like an opening singer and then I'll just come in and then I'll leave. And you can have an end of the night singer.
Hmm.
That would have been ideal.
I know, pulling off. I mean, pulling off like,
Yes.
well, how many hours would you say?
Oh, it's the okay. So you got to drive to the job.
Hmm.
I would say usually get on. You do like 4 sets. You do four
Hmm.
45s, typical. But
Hmm.
I guarantee you, every time the fourth set is like, things are winding down, and it's like, oh my god, we got to get back up there.
Yeah, and you
Although it
gotta
was
get
really
your,
fun on that third set, everybody goes, woo!
and
But
then you have to like keep your energy up, right? Like as things are, as you said, winding down and closing up for the
oh god, it's so painful.
evening.
It's like cocktail, please.
And I asked that question just for the people watching, just to let them know. I mean, think about 4 45 minute sets,
Uh-huh.
and think about how petrified most people are speaking for 5 minutes. And let's just compare the two.
Yeah, it's but once you start and you hear that from everybody, it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
I get a lot of butterflies, but once you start, then it just goes. Typically, it's not a guarantee,
Typically,
but
right.
typically, like I used to be, I thought that, oh, I won't really talk a lot. I'll just sing. And
Hmm.
then I started to talk more to the audience, and I found that was very fun. And that broke that. But yeah, it's
And
not.
people like to know who's up there, right?
They do, and I have to say, I was kind of.
People like prying.
They do. I'm gonna tell you, and it's in between
And they
sets, so
enjoy
it's
it.
only yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not even that. It's like in between the sets. Then people want to chat you up, and you're like, oh my
Oh,
god,
that
my
too.
voice
Yeah.
is a little tired. Again, but yeah, it's part of the whole show. I mean, I'm not gonna be a baby about it, but I
Hmm.
used to kind of like hurry, get off the stage, and kind of hide for a little while. Then I come back
Which,
out
and
of
I'll
it.
add, which is important. I do remember, I was in the choir in high school, and I remember performing one evening, and I was like 16, so I didn't know any better. And I think we were like laughing and talking like the whole evening, like before the show, and then the show started, and it's like, oh my God, my voice, yeah,
The
yeah,
voice.
the talking does, weigh a little bit
Yeah,
on it, and
and
people
listen,
don't quite realize that.
exactly. And but my favorite is the festivals. And I don't they just seem like they're happy people and I love the weather.
And festivals
I
are very much in trend these days.
I know and
The best way of making money for everyone.
I'm jonesing to do some festivals in Europe. So I'm kind of working on it. Then it's not the greatest pay, but it's that old thing that you say I'd rather enjoy it than
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
festivals
not
are
trying to do it for
just
the
great
I'm not a
environment.
big headliner, but I would do it for a reduced amount of
Hmm.
money because it's fun. It really is. The energy is amazing. Everybody's in a good mood, and the stages are big, so it's nice.
Yeah, they are fun. And look, you were talking, I, in talking about, things that happen on stage, and I'm just throwing out an anecdote.
I've
I don't know if
already
you've
had
ever,
like 10 things just go through my head. I was like, oh god, that's
yeah, I don't know
oh
if you've ever
they.
experienced such.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
I had a bad, how would I put it? Most embarrassing moment.
Wardrobe was it wardrobe?
No, I was in the choir, and I was in the front, so I was like next to the director. So I was always front and center, and directly in the camera view. And I had gone to an amusement park the day before, and kind of being paranoid about not getting sick. I think I didn't eat or drink anything all day long.
Ah,
And then I got up to,
yes.
perform the next morning. And during prayer, while everyone's eyes are closed, I had started leaning. And
Oh,
someone saw what was happening. And now I didn't do anything because I'm just leaning. Yes, I was
you
dehydrated,
were
but I was
swaying.
Oh, yes, I was maintaining. But someone else thought that, oh, that's not good. Oh, he's going to faint. Two men get up, walk over to me, pick me up,
Oh,
carry me off stage. It wasn't just off stage. There's like a whole floor underneath. So
yes,
we're really high in the air compared to the average church. So it's a very dramatic thing. A wheelchair, I was like wheelchaired out all along the
oh
side.
shit.
A
Okay.
friend called me afterwards and said, so people said, did he have a heart attack? They were
Oh,
trying to find out was he alive. Never had anything like that. Serious.
I think wardrobe malfunction. That would be my
Those
top
can,
one.
I
I
mean,
mean,
those are
I
always,
went down. I
that can
went.
never go well.
Oh God, no, it doesn't. I mean, I remember I went down on my knees right on the front of the stage. And thank God I had pantyhose on underneath my black pants. That's all I got to say.
Oh.
Because it was like, hello, everybody. Hello, world. Oh my God. And the spotlight's on me. And I remember the spotlight guy started flickering his thing. But I was in the middle of like finishing up a song. I was being very rock and roll. Not a good moment.
The
That
middle of the
was,
song. Okay.
it was the end of the song. It was, oh, I still think of
Still,
it.
still.
But thank God I had what I had underneath the black pants because you know what I mean.
You probably
I would
think of
have.
that every time you get dressed now, don't you?
I even now I just
Yeah,
like cringe thinking about that.
in the event something, should break or give way, you know, what's what's the second layer that's going to be saving people?
Exactly, exactly. I'm so glad I had those on.
Before we go, do you have a favorite performance that you've had
I
that you could
do.
think of?
Actually, I do. I do. It was in West Palm Beach. They have a, a festival called the Sunfest,
Okay.
and they have this great amphitheater kind of. And I don't know what it is. I like it when it's warm out and I'm singing and I'm sweating a little. I really enjoy that. It just you kind of feel like you're. For me, I like it. I'm a wet. I don't mind warm weather. So yeah, that was it was real big amphitheater stage. I remember it. I mean, I could really run across the stage. It just felt like a football field, but it was fun. That one sticks out for me. And the crowd was amazing, and it was just one of those moments. And the sun,
You
and
know,
it was
and,
still a little sunny out, so the sun was going down, and it was warm, and really your chords, the vocal cords, really love that.
right, right. And West Palm Beach is it's a beautiful city.
It's
I have to add.
beautiful. It's
I mean, have you
boring
been?
as hell, but it's beautiful.
I,
Sorry.
I mean, I do have to admit. I mean, I've only been down there once. And but just, I mean, walking around, riding around, shopping, etc. It's, I think I recall it was it's, it's much to do, but I mean, aesthetically, I could at least look
It's
at that all day.
it's gorgeous. It is. Downtown Palm Beach is gorgeous, and the architecture of it, that's great. But let me tell you something. They all leave now. They're leaving for the Hamptons, and that place gets like a ghost town. Then they all come
Uh,
back. It's got a season to it, and
hmm
even in the season, it's just there's a lot of young girls, and then there's a lot of really older gentlemen with deep pockets. And you see it a lot, and you kind of see it a lot. It's like, oh my god, really?
Yeah, I do have to say that. I mean, so there's a stark difference, and I'm from DC, and so um,
Like people actually have job. Women actually have a job.
that's
They're
one
not.
thing. And I hate describing it that way. It keeps coming in my head how folks like call it, Hollywood for ugly people. Um, but it's a huge
That's good.
difference. And for one, like I think I went to a convention at or something at the Breakers and the Breakers Hotel there, and
Beautiful property, gorgeous,
oh my God, I could sit and just look around and people
stunning,
watch,
stunning.
except for the fact that as I'm you know walking around, I'm like I think that everyone I said in this building is like a third of the size of what's in DC. That's quite used to used to seeing
Yeah.
this.
Well, it
Uh,
tells you there's a certain little crowd that you
mhm.
know. Oh God, I don't want to say anything negative about the place,
I,
but
I know.
again, I
So
go
that
back to my
crossed my
original.
mind, and I'm the one who went there.
I and the food's great there. Go there for food for sure, any day of the week.
It
But
is.
I'm telling you, it's boring. I feel it's boring. It's not exciting like New York. It's not. It's nothing.
Well, in my list of places to consider going to, I might mark that one off. I'll take your word.
Oh well,
Your
no.
word
Look,
for it.
visit for sure. Enjoy the
Visit.
great restaurants. Oh, there's some great food there. Oh my God, and it's very expensive. Totally hoity-toity,
Oh,
everything.
that is true.
Hmm. But yeah, the Breakers is really stunning, stunning property.
So, if there's any, uh, is there anything about you as an artist that might happen to surprise your fans to know about or to hear about?
I don't. No. Well, no, not really. Honestly, I mean, I like
Pretty much of an open book.
I'm a Miami girl. Um, yeah, I'm pretty open
And
book
so,
about everything. Yeah, I just
okay.
people by now know I've been divorced, and it wasn't a great
hmm
marriage. Oh well, but yeah, no, I'm pretty open.
Life
Yeah.
happens.
Yes, it
Okay.
does. Yeah, I don't have a really. I have great parents, and um, just I had a great happy childhood. I loved it. We weren't the wealthiest people, but so what?
hmm
As love is all you
Right.
need.
Yes. Now listen. So after your song "Fall for You," which was the next track that you were
Well, yeah, the next track is a little more about the marriage. So that's called Gone,
okay.
and everything's gone. Gone
That
are
one's not
gone.
out yet, is it?
Gone are the vows. Gone. are the memories gone, gone, gone. Everything's gone. It's a kind of a sad, kind of angsty kind of a song, but yeah, it
Hmm.
just pretty much came right out of the pages. Pages of my divorce.
Is that one out yet?
No, I'm waiting. Fall for You still
Okay.
climbing the charts. I'm in the top five, in a lot of the European.
Okay. I
Um,
was going to say I didn't think that I saw that. So
what's
I was
that?
making sure I didn't. I was going to say I didn't think that I saw that song. So I want to make sure that I wasn't missing anything.
No, yeah, like I said, I'm trying to just be strategic about it. Like, let
Right.
fall for you. Like, I'm trying to kind of say, hey,
Hmm.
everybody, look, here I am,
Right.
and then start to back it up. But there's some really good tracks coming.
Mhm.
Oh my god!
I can't wait. And so before we go,
Thank you.
if you could let everyone know how to find you online.
You can go to my IG, Sandy T underscore official. That's really the best way. Then I have a link tree and that has a contact form if they ever want to reach out. I have a website on that link tree, but link in my bio, you can go to my website and look around and just kind of see what I'm up to. I'm going to start doing some merchandise.
Nice.
Yeah, I have some of that in the works. So, and I want to do some vinyl, like some old classic cool
Oh no,
vinyl
that would be cool.
records. I know I want to do that so bad. Well, what's cool about Europe is that they still have record stores everywhere. It's a
Okay.
very, yeah. So I'm going to try to do the retro cool soul
Yeah.
vibe thing.
I mean, I think seeing your music in a vinyl, I mean, for anyone, I mean, that is just the
I,
old
I
school
just think
CD I
it's
like to
so
have.
cool to be on.
It
Now,
is.
my dance, I did a dance track, and that was on vinyl, and I just think it's so cool. I love it.
It absolutely is. All right, everyone. Sandy, thank you for coming on. I
Giovanni,
definitely
you're the
appreciate
best.
it.
You're
And listen,
welcome.
before we're going out, I'm going to play the outro, and you can hang around right after that. I'll be with you in just a moment.
Sounds good. Thank you,
All right.
everyone.